وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي، أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WDMV راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
And good morning, everyone. You're listening to Yalla Fight Back Radio from Chicago, broadcast through 690 AM WNZK Radio in Detroit, Michigan. I'm your host, Ray Hanania. It's Friday, August 17, 2018, and we're going to be taking your calls at 248-557-3300. We're also hoping to have a guest to connect with Ali Younes in Doha, Qatar. He's a reporter with Aljazeera. We'll see if we can get him on. The time difference is burdensome, obviously, all the time on live radio when you're trying to get people on, and especially that distance. But we'll make the effort during the show and get his perspective on things that are happening in the Middle East with us. Again, Yalla Fight Back Radio is part of the U.S. Arab Radio Network, hosted by Layla Al-Husseini, in an effort to energize and empower Arab Americans to stand up for their rights. For more information, you can go to my website at hanania.com. The radio show call-in number is 248-557-3300. We have a lot of interesting topics this morning. Two of the big ones, I think, and then we'll take actually calls from listeners. If there are other topics you want to talk about, we will take them at 248-557-3300. One of the topics is, of course, Rashida Tlaib. How could Rashida Tlaib is news. I mean, listen, she won the Democratic primary to succeed John Conyers. It's an overwhelming Democratic district, so although there is a slim chance a Republican can win, it's so unlikely. I think everybody is clear that she is going to be the congresswoman representing the 13th district in Michigan, and I'm excited for her. I think she has some issues, though. And you know what? She doesn't like criticism. She doesn't like anybody that questions her. I think she's a little rough, you know, when someone wants to ask a question, but she likes to criticize. The latest problem, though, was, before the election, she was attacked, I thought kind of viciously, by the Electronic Intifada, which is a kind of a far left extremist site that opposes peace with Israel and that rejects the two-state solution. It's been part of the movement leading against any kind of compromise with Israel. But at the same time, it also has and showcased many of the issues facing Palestinians. Like anything Palestinian, there's a mix of good and bad in it. But they were pretty brutal. They beat her up in some columns, and then after being beat up, she, prior to the election, she was supported by J Street and all these Israeli organizations, were pro-peace Israeli organizations. And I support J Street. I'll be honest with you, I do. I'm not Jewish. I'm Palestinian Christian. But I think J Street and Americans for Peace Now and, there are a number of the New Israel Fund, these Israeli progressive organizations, you need partners for peace, people. You can't make peace with yourself. That's called dictatorship. And that's not what we're about. We're trying to get away from that, right? So you make peace with people that want to make peace with you. And these are groups that want to make peace with us. So I support groups like J Street, which is very progressive. And J Street and Americans for Peace Now have been extremely critical of Israel's government policies. I mean, the brutality, there's no doubt. No Palestinian group, I don't care how extremist or moderate you are, owns the issue of brutality by Israel against Palestinians. Everybody with a conscience has to be upset by what Israel is doing in Gaza. It's the Israeli government that is abusive and violating human rights. That's the focus. But Rashida Tlaib was not quiet on the Middle East. She's Palestinian herself, and I think it's phenomenal that she is going to be in Congress. She's the second Palestinian to be in Congress, right? Justin Amash was the first Palestinian. Actually, I'm not even sure if he was the first. There was Johnson Nunu, I think the son. He was described as being Lebanese, but his parents were from Acre in Palestine. So, there's a big question about all that. But Rashida Tlaib is also being described as the first Muslim woman to be in Congress, and that may not be the case because, honestly, there is another Muslim woman who's also very consistent and strong in condemning Israel's government atrocities while supporting peace, and she's much more vocal about supporting peace. Her name is Ihlam Omar, and Ihlam is Muslim and Arab from Somalia. Somalia is one of the 22 Arab countries, of course, and a lot of people don't look at Somalia and say, oh, they're Arab. Hey, buddies, they're Arab, okay? And she's Muslim. So it's going to be interesting to see, will there be a first Muslim woman in Congress when they're sworn in January? Whoever finishes their swearing in recital, when you're all together and they swear you in, if Ihlan or Rashida finishes their, I swear, their advocacy to the Constitution of the United States first, that will be the first Muslim woman in Congress. So I'm going to be interested to see if they do it, and maybe it'll be tied. But in the option, obviously, is they both will be the two first women who are Muslim who will be members of the U.S. Congress. Another issue we're going to be talking about. Oh, and by the way, Ihlam Omar is actually she's a Democrat from the 5th Congressional District. She won the Democratic primary. And she faces a Republican, but it's a predominantly Democratic seat, and it was held by Keith Ellison, quote, the first Muslim male member of Congress, although I'm not even quite sure if that's the case. A lot of the early pioneers who were Muslim, some of them may not have been recognized properly, by the media. It never became really an issue, but Ellison decided not to run for re-election after there were stories accusing him of domestic abuse. So he decided, I think, to run for Minnesota's Office of Attorney General. So we'll see what happens there. And then in another story, Peter Beinart. I don't know if you're familiar with Peter Beinart. He's a Jewish-American journalist who was traveling to Israel, and he's kind of a leftist. For the most part. I don't always agree with everything he says, but you know what? There's no 100% in anything. And he was traveling to Israel, and at Ben Gurion Airport, he was pulled aside by the Shin Bet, the vicious, ugly, sinister Secret Service of the Israeli government. The Shin Bet. They pulled him aside and locked him in a room and interrogated him. And now I think it was only for an hour or two. He didn't really go through much abuse. And then the media turned it into like, oh my God, how can the Shin Bet harass and interrogate such a decent person, Jewish-American journalist Peter Beinart? And yet, ironically, they do worse things to Arabs, to Palestinians, to Muslims. When you travel to Israel, they treat you like garbage. If you're Arab, if you're Palestinian, if you're Muslim, if you're Christian Arab, I don't care, even if you think you're not Arab, you might be Middle Eastern Christian, you go to Israel, they're going to treat you like garbage. And you may be in interrogation for 8 hours or more, and they may throw you out after abusing you and destroying your personal property and ripping it to pieces, going through your laptop, going through your computers. Nobody wants that, and everybody should. There should be a civil rights about travel, so that tyrannies and dictatorships like Israel's Netanyahu government should not be allowed to abuse travelers. But it was surprising to me because all these left-wing groups and the media, especially the biased media, that only makes it an issue when it's of importance to them. We're screaming about, how could you do this to Peter Beinart? He's such a good guy. Oh my gosh. And then they're silent about things that happen to you and me because we're Arab, we're Palestinian, we're Muslim. And, I'm not blaming Peter. He's not a bad guy. He's a little reticent. He doesn't really want to talk to everybody. He's very picky about who he talks to. Not as picky as Rashida Tlaib, obviously, because the Jewish community is really upset about Rashida. They supported her, and after she was beat up by the electronic intifada, she flipped, and now she's tough, on Israel, and, she's coming out with these tough words about everything, and just giving a hug, telling my kid good luck. He's going to second day of high school today. My son Aaron is the author of the new book, The King's Pawn, which if you go to thekingspawn.com, you can get information on it. It's a great fiction book. thekingspawnbook.com. 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 How's that? So my kid, how many people have a senior that's written a fiction novel before? Anyway, I'm really happy for him. He's done a great job. So we're going to be taking phone calls. Why don't we take our first break, and then when we come back, we'll take phone calls at 248-557-3300. I know that a lot of my friends were talking about Rashida on Facebook. I should probably have reached out to some of them on Facebook and asked them, to call in and share their views, because they raise some pretty good points. We have to support Rashida and also Ihlam Omar. We have to support both of them. We need new voices. Nobody's 100% perfect, so whether I agree with everything with Rashida or not is besides the point. I don't have to. Hopefully, she will be, open enough to deal with everybody that supports her too, although I have not been able to get an interview with her. I've been able to talk to a lot of Congress people in Michigan, but, she didn't like me because I think I criticized her once 8 years ago, and, Arabs have long memories. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take a quick break here at Yalla Fight Back Radio. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls at 248-557-3300. 248-557-3300. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
أسواق زمزم الواقع على 24065 أورشد لك في مدينة فارمington هيلز ترحب بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. تنزيلات كبيرة على عموم المواد الغذائية في يوم الأربعاء من كل أسبوع. لا تنسوا فريش كاري اوت، جميع انواع المعجنات، وايضا صواني الكمبو المشكله والصمون الحار. لحوم حلال الجاليه العربيه والاسلاميه الملحمه باداره قصاب الجاليه المعروف سلوان جربوع. زوروهم على 24065 اورشد لك في مدينه فارمington هيلز، او اتصلوا بهم على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمذاق عنوان لجميع طلباتكم. اتصلوا على 248-476-0300. اسواق زمزم للمعامله الراقية وكرم الضيافة عنوان.
بدأناه معكم وعاهدناكم على أن نستمر بمزيد من المتعة والعروض الحصرية على قناتي زي ألوان وزي أفلام. زي ألوان هي أول وأكبر قناة مسلسلات عربية هندية في أمريكا. أضخم الإنتاجات، مسلسلات حصرية. ومع زي أفلام فأنتم على موعد مع مغامرة جديدة كل يوم لاكتشاف سحر بوليوود. تابعوا حصريا قناتي زي ألوان وزي أفلام الآن في أمريكا على ديش نتورك وسلينج تي في.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziad.com. That's www.ziad.com. Ziad, quality products from our family to yours.
The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
And welcome back to Yalla Fight Back Radio from Chicago, broadcast through 690 AM WNZK Radio in Detroit, Michigan. It's August 17th. I'm Ray Hanania, and we're taking your calls at 248-557-3300. Just a little plug for the Arab American Democratic Club. They have their brunch and forum on Sunday, October 21st at Nico's Restaurant in the Chicago suburb of Bridgeview. It's going to be from 10 a.m. till 1 o'clock, and I believe Mike Madigan is going to be the keynote speaker, and Karen Yarbrough, who's the new Democratic candidate, who is going to be the Cook County clerk. They probably are going to have over 100 Democratic candidates showing up, and I'm sure that Democratic politics and Arab American political action is the same, not just in Chicago, but also in the greater Detroit region. Give us a buzz, 248-557-3300. Let's go to the phone lines and say hi to our first caller this morning, Jerry Haba. Hey, Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Ray Hanania. Good morning to you, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you, Mike.
What do you make of Rashida Tlaib? Have you noticed anything as a Michigan voter, or is this beyond worth discussing? Do you see her moving? Have you seen her changed, or are you still pretty confident about her?
Okay, allow me, Mr. Ray Hanania, before I answer this question,
sure,
to give a tribute to the Queen of Soul, Miss
Aretha Franklin. Wow.
The one she passed away yesterday.
Yep.
You know, Mr. Ray Hanania, this artist, this singer, she was a human being before she was a singer. And I will remind you, Mr. Ray Hanania, during the Flint water crisis, you know, the poison, you heard about the lid, yes, and that, and how 100 of children, they were brain damaged. You know what Aretha Franklin did, and she was not a millionaire or billionaire like Oprah Winfrey or the rest of them. She purchased 65 rooms in Holiday Inn, and she brought families with children for 1 month.
She was from Detroit, wasn't she?
Yes, sir, from Detroit, and she died in Detroit.
Aretha Franklin was the Kulthum,
yes,
of the African American community. Wouldn't you say?
What a beautiful match description for that. You absolutely, she was.
That's why I do what I do, Jerry.
Mr. Ray, the Kulthum of the greater Detroit, the Motown city, and you know, she will be remembered because she was a human being, nice person with a good heart. So really, we, the Arab American Chaldean, we pay tribute to her, and God bless her soul, because she was like you said, Kulthum. God bless her, but she was in a different time, in a different world. And you know how the history, every 100 years, Mr. Ray Hanania, they bring a giant, an icon. Kulthum was the giant in the Middle East, and Aretha was the giant. So now, so God bless her soul, and to our brother and sister, the African American people. Mr. Ray Hanania, about our future Congresswoman, Miss Rashida Tlaib or Tlaib. You know, we are very proud of her because her victory is our victory, Mr. Ray. And I wish her the best. I mean, we are proud to have a first woman to be in Congress. In the meantime, Mr. Ray Hanania, we want to congratulate also Mr. Clint Castro from the Iraqi Chaldean. He will be the first congresswoman in Washington, D.C. Yes. And I do owe you apology that day, and to the listener.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You and Ali Younes and Mr. Dennis Demmel, when I told you Fayrouz Saad, she won, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Fayrouz Saad, unfortunately, she tried, but she lost. But you know what? She tried again. Look how Judge Tarfa, a few years ago, he lost by five votes. But when he tried again, he won, and he's right now one of the best.
Let me ask you, Jerry, because you know let me ask you, because the news report said that Clint lost the primary on August 7th, the Republican candidate, seeking election to the U.S. House. Did that change?
Or with you, Mr. Ray Hanania, surrounding to the news on August 7th and the next day.
Yeah,
I thought Mr. Clint Castro, representative right now, he is. I thought he won. I know Michael Shalal, he lost.
Yeah.
Michael
Shalal. I'm going to do some digging on that just to double check.
Please,
we don't have
the expert.
Jerry, listen, we don't have a very good media in the Arab American community. We got a lot of activists. They love to scream and yell, but not a lot of them. Layla, a few people like her. The Arab News in Detroit, which is a great daily, weekly Arab newspaper, the Chaldean News. But in all honesty, we don't have a lot of Arab media that focuses on American issues. We all live in the Middle East. We're physically here, mentally we're back home.
We still suffer from that disease we brought it with us. We don't have organization. We don't have good communication.
We need more and better.
Exactly. American, Arab, Chaldean in the East and the West, they don't know what happened to Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. Communication, Mr. Ray. This is Mr. Ray Hanania. What make us behind the rest of the other communities? Look at the Italian, look at the Irish, look at the Polish, look at even the Hindu. The Hindu, look, Dr. Shri, he ran for governor, and look at Mr. Jandul. He's the governor of the state of Indiana, right? Mr. Jandul. So, you see, look at the United States ambassador to the UN, Miss Nikki Haley. Half she is India and half American, right?
She's a terrible person, Nikki Haley. She's terrible. She's a horrible, how could somebody so nice be so vicious, right? The stuff she says. It's just mean stuff. And why is she mean? She's a hypocrite. But that's the only way you can survive in today's American politics.
Not everybody like Ray Hanania. Not everybody like Layla Al-Husseini. Now we come to Ms. Rashida Tlaib, our congresswoman to Washington, D.C. I wish her the best. The only advice, and as I talked to another American radio station when she won, Mr. Ray, and I hope you agree with me. Sure. Rashida Tlaib, Middle Eastern, Palestinian, and we are honored to have her. But before anything, she is American.
Yes, and we all are American. Our first priority is about being American.
I mean, look, Mr. Ray Hanania.
That's why I love the Chaldeans. That's why I love the Chaldeans.
We have a great people in American Arab community. Look, Dr. Muna Atisha. She is the first one to blow a whistle about a Flint water crisis. Dr. Muna Atisha. Look, a couple of years ago, Miss Arabo, she was picked up as the first teacher of the nation of the year, Miss Arabo. I mean, we have a lot a lot of talents in our community. But Mr. Ray, we don't have organization to use.
No, we don't. We don't. We kind of shoot from the hip.
We have so many local radio stations, so many local newspapers, but everybody say, I am the chief. Too many chief, not too many Indian.
Yeah.
You know, so now we come to Rashida Tlaib. My advice to her, Mr. Ray, I want her as a congresswoman, and I know she's a Muslim background, she's Middle Eastern, but my advice to her, Ms. Rashida Tlaib, try, act like you are a congresswoman for all Americans.
Yes, she represents everybody, even though she may be one of the first.
I love her, but don't speak about Palestine. You are a congresswoman in United States. You are not a congresswoman in the Knesset in Israel. You are here American, so try to serve your country, but you have to support the national issue in the Middle East. Nothing wrong with that, because Mr. Ray, we want Rashida to be the bridge between the Middle East and the United States. We want her to fight for your rights, express your opinion, and be strong. And you don't have to kiss nobody's whatever they call it. You know, be strong.
All right, Gary.
Support you. And
Thank
Mr. Ray, you are a fighter, and we join that fight, because this fight, Mr. Ray, you are not calling for violence. You are calling for peace and love and justice for all. And this country, this great country, the USA, give us the right of free speech. Give us the right to vote. So let's enjoy this freedom. And God bless you, Mr. Ray, and God bless America.
Thank you, Jerry. Jerry, how about 248-557-3300 is our phone number. I want to hear what you have to say. Call in. You know, we're nice to everybody. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me. I don't mind. We were trying to get Ali Younes on the line. He's an Aljazeera reporter. I know Aljazeera doesn't like me. I used to be one of their biggest supporters years ago, but they just turned really negative. I think Ali Younes, I don't want to hurt the guy, but he is the best journalist in the Middle East. Ali Younes is one of the best journalists, probably the top journalist covering Middle East issues, because he's a real journalist. He's not an activist. He's not writing stuff to make people feel happy, which is what a lot of our so-called journalists in the Arab world tend to do. They don't, write the truth. They kind of twist it a little bit to make it feel good. You know, all this stuff. All the critics of Rashida Tlaib, I think, they're not journalists. They're activists. Even on the pro-Israel side of the mainstream news media, they're not journalists at all. They're biased. Listen, it is time. We're going to take another break, 25 minutes after the hour. So let's take another break. But our phone number, and we're taking your calls for the rest of the show. If by chance we're able to connect with Ali Younes, we will do that. I'm always paranoid and suspicious. He probably can't do it. But we will take your phone calls, 248-557-3300. 248-557-3300. Give us a buzz and tell us what you think about Rashida Tlaib, about politics, about any issue out there. You know, what's happening in Michigan, Michigan's Arab community, what big events going on. Give us a buzz. We want to share them. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to be right back right after these messages.
Are you going to start a restaurant or grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
قشات ميديترينيان ماركت بإدارة سهر قشات وأولاده يرحبون بالجالية العربية والكلدانية. جميع أنواع المواد الغذائية، البان طازجة، الكرزات والبهارات الطازجة. داخل الأسواق مطعم ميديترينيان شيش كباب يقدم يوميا جميع أنواع الكباب، المقبلات العربية العراقية وصواني الكامبو المميزة. تفتح الأسواق من 8 إلى 9 مساء من الاثنين وحتى السبت، ومن 8 صباحا إلى 9 مساء يوم الأحد. تقع الأسواق على 32839 نورث ويسترن هايوي في مدينة فارمينغتون هيلز. لحوم حلال للجالية الإسلامية. لطلباتكم من المطعم كول 248-538-7855. That is 248-538-7855. قشة ميديترينيان ماركت، خدمة متميزة ومعاملة راقية.
Life is a non-profit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493. When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan fertility centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600.
And you're listening to Yalla Fight Back Radio from Chicago, broadcast through 690 AM WNZK Radio in Detroit, Michigan. It's Friday, August 17th. I'm the host, Ray Hanania, and I'll be taking your calls at 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. We're talking about politics, and we're talking about a lot of stuff. You know, if Rashida Tlaib had beaten Brenda Jones in the special Democratic primary, remember, there were 2 elections on the 7th of August. One was to fill the remaining term of John Conyers, and there were only 4 candidates in that race. Brenda Jones won that race. Had Rashida Tlaib won that race, she would have been sworn in now, and she would have had the title of being the first Muslim woman to be elected to Congress. Unfortunately, she doesn't get that title. Rashida Tlaib doesn't get that title because Ihlam Omar in the 5th District in Minnesota, Keith Ellison's district, he's moving on to another office, trying to, after there was some controversy and criticism of him. Ihlam Omar is also a Muslim Arab woman, Somali, and she and Rashida are going to share the title of being the first Muslim women to serve in the U.S. Congress. And that is amazing. And you know what was more amazing? A lot of Jewish Americans were cheering these elections and praising them. I'm reading, you know, you can go on Twitter and you can see it's so much different among, you know, the Jewish community is much more diverse sometimes than Arabs. You know, we're hesitant to say stuff, you know, because we're afraid the fanatics and the extremists, you know, we're bullied by the extremists in our community. You say something, they attack you, they call you traitor, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's the way it is, unfortunately, in the Arab community. We got a lot of bullies, and they try to bully you so they can protect the extremist agenda. But in the Jewish community, it's not always like that. They got some very progressive American Jews who support peace in the Middle East, like J Street, Americans for Peace Now, and a lot of people, you know, some Arabs bully me because they're angry because I go, why are you supporting J Street? They're Jewish. And I go, hey, this isn't about being Jewish. This is about human rights. Human rights doesn't have a religion. You know, justice, principle, morality. doesn't have a religion, just like terrorism doesn't have a religion. All those people that say terrorism is a Muslim thing, they're racist too. So, you can't say one principle in defense of Muslims and say, oh, you can't call all Muslims terrorists, and then turn around and criticize every person who's Jewish and say that, we don't support them because they're racist, blah, blah, blah. That kind of hypocrisy is the biggest sin that Arabs face in this country, in the United States, and we need to do something about it. It takes courage to stand up, and I hope that Rashida Tlaib actually does the right thing. We need to support peace. She switched from supporting the two-state solution to now supporting the one-state solution. The electronic intifada, one of the leaders of bullying in the Arab American and Palestinian American community, they bullied me all the time. They attack me. They're so vicious. They're terrible. They just say all kinds of nasty stuff about me, but they're irrelevant. That's a sad thing. I hate to see Palestinians use the Palestinian cause for their own agendas and turn it into irrelevancy. But they really don't have a voice in the United States. But they do have a voice in the small, bullied Arab American community. And they were able to beat up on Rashida Tlaib so much that she had to come out and announce that she was against the two-state solution and she supports the one-state solution. Now, we're not allowed to talk about that in the Arab community because when you do, they go, oh, why do you got to bring up the dirty laundry? No, you know what? Before you can become good and successful, you have to clean the dirty laundry. That means you collect it, you clean it, you throw it out, you do whatever, and you embrace what's right. And you know what? Palestine isn't going to win because of anger, emotion, and bullying. It's going to win because we're on the right side of justice. We're on the right side of the rule of law. We're on the right side of morality. We're on the right side of human rights. We're not going to win because some bully that wants to protect their power, is going to bully people. I hope Rashida stands up and becomes a much better politician, not the activist that she was, always sensitive and thin-skinned about any kind of criticism. Politics and Americanism is about being criticized, and criticism is important, and you have to learn to take the criticism. You have to learn to accept it, and you have to learn that criticism is how we adjust and how we end up honing in on the right thing to do. It's so important. Ihlam Omar has been principled from day one. She hasn't changed. She supports peace, but she's Somali, and she's been standing up, really criticizing Israel's government. She's not attacking Israel. She's attacking Israel's government, and I think that's a distinction. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two members of Congress work out and what kind of pressures they're going to be under, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on them. A lot of the tweets, I'm just going through some of the stuff. The electronic intifada is pretty mean toward Rashida. They claimed that one of Israel's biggest activists was backing Rashida Tlaib. I mean, they looked for all the negative stuff, that they could, and they threw it out there. And I don't know, that's just a terrible way, to address issues, to bully people. That's not the way we should be, and I'm a little embarrassed by it. So 248-557-3300 is our phone number. If you have an issue you want to talk about, you want to jump in and share your opinion, even if we disagree, that the best radio and the best journalism, is when we disagree. I write columns. I get letters all the time from readers. Some of them are happy, some of them are angry. But in the end, it's the reaction and support that makes those columns so relevant, and I appreciate it. You can go online to hanania.com, which is also thedailyhookah.com, and you can read all my columns. I write for the Arab News in Saudi Arabia. I also write for a group of American newspapers, 8 of them, in Chicagoland here in Illinois, on American politics. And I look at issues and things out here. And I do a lot of media activism as an analyst of politics. So I work with a lot of elected officials, governments, and organizations to help them understand how to communicate. Because one of the big problems Arabs have, we know how to yell and scream, but that's not communicating. And we need to understand that yelling and screaming is not productive either. You know, you go to protests. Protests are good if you get millions of people to come out. Protests are not good if you only get like a few hundred people and you end up angering the thousands of people on the street. You know, that see that the better way is to do media, PR, public relations, you know, knowing how to write a press release. Most of the Arab organizations, a lot of them just don't know how to write a simple press release. You know, when you have an event, it's fundamental, you know, to communications. You don't just put out a little email newsletter and say, hey, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. 2 weeks before your event, even 3 weeks, you write up a press release to look just like a news story. And you mail it out to everybody, to all the media. You put it on the online blogs. Everybody that might be interested that reach people. Today it's easier than ever to reach people and to reach and go around the biased, racist, anti-Arab mainstream American news media. You don't need them. You do not need CNN. You do not need MSNBC. You do not need ABC or George Stephanopoulos. These are people that are racist towards Arab. They manipulate us. You know, Wolf Blitzer at CNN, he's biased. You know, the guy's Israeli. He doesn't like Arabs. He only likes us if we like what he believes. And he won't put you on if you disagree with him, because that's the way they are. They're managing us, and we allow them to manage us because we don't offer an alternative. Layla Al-Husseini with U.S. Arab Radio Network is offering an alternative. This radio show, there's no other radio show like it in the country, and it's so important to be supporting it and listening to it. You know, you don't have to agree with everybody, but you got to listen to it. And if you're not listening to it, you're really disrespecting yourself as an Arab, as someone from the Middle East. Doesn't matter whether you're Chaldean or Arab, because the average American looks at Chaldeans and Arabs, and we are both the same. But we have to understand basic communications. And sadly, I have to say, the majority of Arab American organizations and Muslim American organizations flunk. They get a D. They're very terrible at communications. They don't know how to communicate. Even our candidates have a hard time communicating. They don't know how to put out a press statement. They don't know how to put out a press release. They don't know how to distribute it. And like I said, today, it's with the internet, it's easier and easier with online blogs to get your message out to not just Arabs, but to the American people, because we need to do a better job of educating them about who we are and what we stand for. And we're diverse. Diversity isn't just about men and women, or blacks and whites, or Arabs and non-Arabs. Diversity is about, being able in our own community to have different viewpoints and discussing things and disagreeing without being disagreeable. And that is, one of the big tragedies of the Arab community. Let's take our final break, Mike, and then maybe when we come back, we'll take some phone calls at 248-557-3300. Give us a call. Ask me any question you want. I'm happy to do it. 248-557-3300. Give us a buzz here at Yalla Fight Back Radio, 690 AM WNZK Radio in Detroit. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to be right back right after these messages.
The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
بدأناه معكم وعهدناكم على أن نستمر بمزيد من المتعة والعروض الحصرية على قناتي زي ألوان وزي أفلام. زي ألوان هي أول وأكبر قناة مسلسلات عربية هندية في أمريكا. أضخم الإنتاجات، مسلسلات حصرية، ومع زي أفلام فأنتم على موعد مع مغامرة جديدة كل يوم لاكتشاف سحر بوليوود. تابعوا حصريا قناتي زي ألوان وزي أفلام الآن في أمريكا على ديش نتورك وسلينج تي في.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Imad Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Imad Nakash. See Dr. Imad Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
And welcome back to Yalla Fight Back Radio. I'm Ray Hanania. Our number, 248-557-3300. You know, I got a lot of books out there. One of them is Power PR. And honestly, if you're an Arab American organization, if you're an activist, you really need to understand communications. That's what Power PR is all about. It's to give you the basics so that you can understand, 1, how to write a press release, 2, to identify your news and present it in a way that the audience you're talking to will be compelled to listen. You know, you can't just make yourself feel good. You got to make the audience feel good. And you got to get them, to, respond to what you're trying to do. And it's not easy because, the big mistake that people make is they talk to themselves or they talk to the choir. It's easy to do that. You want to talk to somebody who likes you. You don't want to talk to the unknown because you're unsure. So, we tend to kind of talk to ourselves. And when we talk to ourselves, you lose the bigger public. That's one of the biggest problems with the communications of a lot of groups. And in all honesty, they just don't know how to, write a press release, a simple press release, 400 words, that tells the public what it is that you want to do in a smart way. So I work with people, I help them do that. That's one of the things that keeps me on my feet all the time. And I'm out there to help you if you need it. Just to go back to one of our callers earlier, yes, Clint Kesto, Chaldean, I believe he's Chaldean. He was running in the 11th Congressional District. Unfortunately, he did lose to Lena Epstein in the 11th Republican primary. He was running as a Republican. There were 5 candidates. He ran 4th, unfortunately. He did pretty well, but Lena Epstein won 30% of the vote. And it's interesting because another candidate, Fayrouz Saad, also in the 11th Democratic primary. It would have been nice. We would have had 2 Middle Easterners, Clint Kesto and Fayrouz Saad, running against each other in the 11th Congressional District in Michigan. Can you imagine that? 2 Middle Eastern, Arab, non-Arab Chaldeans running against each other. What would that would have been like? Oh my gosh, I can just imagine the screaming between Arabs and Chaldeans, right, in the 11th District. If Fayrouz Saad had won the Democratic nomination and Clint Kesto had won the Republican primary nomination, oh my gosh. Anyway, that was decided by the voters. Lena Epstein won the Republican primary in the 11th District, and Haley Stevens won the Democratic primary in the 11th Congressional District. There were also 5 candidates. There also was an Indian American, Sunil Gupta, who was running in that race, beating out Fayrouz Saad. And so politics is important because it defines who's going to speak for us, in this country. And as our caller said earlier, we are American. We have to engage in the American system before we can help our people back home. We have to help ourselves here in this country. We have to be successful. We have to engage in the system. And when the media tries to keep us out, as the mainstream media does, we have to come up with new media ways to get around that, to change things. And that's what I spend a lot of my time doing. That's why, I wanted to be a doctor like a lot of my cousins. But I got into journalism. Sometimes I regret it because it's, our Arab community, they just don't know. They don't understand. You don't get any support. Being Arab is not something that is rewarding, in the Arab American community. There's no reward for Arab Americans who, sacrifice stuff for their community, because it's so easy to get into an argument with your community, especially over issues that are irrelevant, like Muslims and Christians. We're no different. We're the same, but in reality, we are treated different. I think that religion should be in the background and separate from government. I believe in the separation of church and state. That's why I like America, because they've done a good job of separating it. Now, there are people that are trying to mix it and bring religion back into politics in the United States, and that's wrong. But they do that in the Middle East and in the Arab community. We mix up religion and politics, and it gets to be kind of ugly when you talk about different things, because if when you criticize something in politics, it's a debate. But then you add religion, suddenly the criticism becomes critical of the religion, and it's not. So that's why religion shouldn't be in the political discussion, because if you try to criticize something that somebody does, they stand behind the religious shield and say, oh, you're anti-Muslim or you're anti-Christian. So it ends up pulling the rug out from our effectiveness, and we are not able to do the things we want to do. 248-557-3300 is our phone number. I don't mind talking forever, but I also don't mind if you want to call. We can agree, disagree, whatever. I was very excited about the election of Rashida Tlaib in Michigan in the 13th Congressional District, and also the election of Ihlam Omar in the 5th Congressional District in Minnesota. And it's sad, though, that Ihlam is taking the place of Keith Ellison. Keith was Muslim, not Arab, but I don't really think he was very open to the Arab community. He was open to the Muslim community, but that was one of Keith Ellison's biggest problems. He never really opened up to Arabs or Palestinians. He had this rigid litmus test that if you didn't agree with him 100%, he didn't talk to you. That's that's one of the big problems in the Arab community. 248-557-3300 is our number. Give us a buzz. This week in the Arab news, I was writing about Peter Beinart, the Jewish-American journalist. He was traveling through Israel, and he was interrogated by the Shin Bet, the Secret Service, at Ben Gurion Airport. I don't know about you, but I've been stopped many times. The first time was back in the 1990s. They treated me like crap. It was terrible. They stopped me. They said they looked at me. They knew I was Arab, Palestinian, and I have relatives there. And they kept saying, what's your name? And I said Ray, and they go Ray, and the lady was standing behind in a little room with a window and with steel bars, and she had this slider that she'd slide up and slide down. So she'd slide it up as like a puppet show. Say, what's your name? And I'd say Ray Hanania, and she'd slide the thing down, and then she'd raise it up. She'd say, what's your dad's name? And I'd say George, and then she'd slam the thing down like she's angry, and then she slid it up. She said, what's your grandfather's name? And I said Saba, and she said aha, like she got me, proof that I'm a Palestinian. And then they interrogated me for about 8 hours, until they discovered in my wallet my ID card for because I was a City Hall reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times in 1990. And I covered City Hall for 18 years, almost 18 years. And I covered politics for 35 years. And they found that ID card, and they got all upset. They were really concerned, like maybe they made a mistake. Ooh, because stopping me, they figured, oh gosh, he's a journalist. He's just going to make our lives miserable, which I did do, by the way. I did write a lot of stories criticizing what they did to me. The media didn't write about it. I'm not Peter Beinart. I'm not Jewish American journalist. I'm just a Palestinian American who served during the Vietnam War as a veteran honorably. So the media doesn't care about me, and believe me, the media does not care about you either. You may think they do, but they don't. We need to make ourselves relevant by telling our stories. So I wrote about that story, about how I went through this interrogation of Ben Gurion the first time that I went to Israel in 1990 during the first Intifada, and how terrifying it was, to be there with these Israeli soldiers running around and pointing their weapons at your face. They could shoot you and nobody would care. The media wouldn't care in this country. You can tell they don't care because they kill people, Arabs, all the time, and the media doesn't say anything. But if an Arab kills an Israeli, it is a big deal. It becomes a big story. But that's your fault. That's your fault for not getting engaged. That is your fault. If we have problems in this country, it's because of you. Your failure to stand up and be counted. You need to stand up and be active and do things the right way. And we can't be hypocrites. Hypocrisy is the biggest weapon to undermine our, righteousness. The Palestinian cause is a righteous cause. But when we're hypocrites about it, then we damage our own cause, and we don't want to do that. Listen, I want to thank everybody for listening to us here at Yalla Fight Back Radio. I'm going to be on again next week, too, next Friday. You're not getting rid of me that easy. I'll be sitting in next Friday also, and we'll be talking politics. I may have Dennis Deno on. I may invite him in. We'll talk some politics. Dennis Deno is a great political analyst. He did a great job the last time around. Ali Younes, too. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Ali on the radio this morning, so we'll have to... and that's always tough, trying to reach out to people in the Arab world with the time difference and everything. It's just horrible sometimes. So, unfortunately, we weren't able to get him. But remember, I will be here next week, next Friday, same time, 8 a.m. in Detroit, 7 a.m. in Chicago, and 3 p.m. in occupied Palestine. And we will be talking about issues whether you like it or not, right? And you will be allowed to call in to our phone number at 248-557-3300. I urge you to go to my websites. One of the ones where I publish a lot of, I'm part of a group of Arab writers at thearabdailynews.com. So you can go there, thearabdailynews.com. You can check that out, or you can go to my personal website, thedailyhookah.com. I'm Ray Hanania. I want to thank Mike for helping us out here, and thank everybody for listening, and Layla El-Husseini for doing such hard work to keep this radio program on the air Monday through Friday at the U.S. Arab Radio Network. Talk to you later, everybody. Bye-bye. Have a great week. Talk to you next Friday. Bye-bye.